When we talk about the environmental crisis, our minds usually jump to science and policy, right? But what if one of the most powerful tools for a sustainable future is actually a framework of faith? Today, we're going to dive into that, exploring the incredible connection between Islamic ethics and environmentalism.
This quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? We really feel this vulnerability when something sudden happens, like a natural disaster. But here's the thing. What about the dangers that just kind of creep up on us? The slow-burning crises that are just as dangerous, but way, way easier to ignore.
And that's the real trap. An earthquake is a sudden shock. It's impossible to ignore. The damage is right there, in your face. It grabs our attention. But environmental decay? That's the slow burn. It's gradual. It's less dramatic day to day. And because of that, it's so dangerously overlooked.
Okay, so let's make this slow-burning crisis a little more real. We're going to focus on Bangladesh, a country that is on the absolute front lines of climate change. This is where we can see just how incredibly high the stakes really are. Now, this isn't just some number on a slide. For the people living in Bangladesh, a temperature jump this big means life-threatening heat waves could become the new normal. I mean, just try to imagine a future where winter, as you know it, basically just disappears, shrinking down to maybe a handful of cold days all year. And all that extra heat? It supercharges the air with moisture. So a 15% bump in monsoon rainfall doesn't just mean more rain. It means floods that are more severe, more frequent, and way more devastating, threatening everything from homes to lives.
And none of these things happen in a vacuum. It's a devastating ripple effect. It's like a chain reaction that threatens food supplies, clean water, and public health. And it puts the stability of the entire economy at risk.
So the big question is, how did we get here? Because this isn't just about bad weather patterns. It's the end result of millions of choices. So let's break down the logic, the thinking that's fueling this collapse.
At its heart, the problem is an economic logic that's just deeply human. It seems we're kind of hardwired to want what we want right now. We prioritize that immediate satisfaction, even when we know, deep down, that those choices could put the future at risk for everyone.
And guess what? There's a name for this. It's called future discounting. It's our natural instinct to choose a small reward now over a much bigger one later. And that one simple impulse is what drives so much of the resource overuse that has pushed our planet right to the edge.
But what if there's a different way to look at all of this? This is where things get really interesting. We're going to turn to a completely different framework, one rooted in Islamic ethics, that offers a way to fundamentally reshape our entire approach.
Now, this is a total game changer. Instead of seeing social responsibility as, an optional extra, something you do if you feel like it, this worldview says it's a moral obligation. It becomes a kind of enlightened self-interest, the idea that taking care of your community and your planet is actually the best way to take care of yourself.
So the absolute core of it is this massive pivot from ownership to stewardship. The idea is that we don't own the Earth's resources. We're just caretakers, trustees. We've been entrusted with them. And when you think like that, suddenly wastefulness and harming the environment become totally unethical.
And what's really cool is this framework gives us a practical guide for how to live. It sets up a clear hierarchy. First, you take care of necessities, the things you need to survive. Then, you can look at things that improve your quality of life. And only then do you even think about luxuries. It's like a built-in brake against the runaway consumption that causes so much damage.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but is anyone actually doing it? Well, the answer is a huge yes. Let's look at how these principles are already being put into practice in some pretty amazing ways all over the world. I mean, just look at this stuff. It's a global movement. In Malaysia, they're using Islamic bonds. They're called sukuk to fund green buildings. Indonesia is doing the same for renewable energy and creating eco-mosques. In Oman, they're using charitable funds to put solar panels on mosques. Jordan and Saudi Arabia are bringing back the himma system, which is a traditional way to conserve nature. That's the whole trustees of the earth idea in action. From fighting food waste in the UAE to saving water in Morocco, these ethics are being turned into real-world action. It's incredible.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that a shared set of values can be this incredibly powerful engine, driving everything from government policy and new financial tools all the way down to action in our local communities.
All right, so where do we go from here? What does this all mean for the path forward? Let's bring it all home.
Remember where we started, thinking about earthquakes and tectonic plates, things that are totally out of our hands.
But here's the empowering part. We can't control those things, but we absolutely can control our economic behavior. We can control our collective choices, and that is where our real power is.
But here's the thing. At the end of the day, no system, no matter how brilliant, can work without people believing in it. It takes all of us. It needs a collective commitment, a shared sense of responsibility. It needs us to actively encourage each other to make those better long-term choices.
And so, that leaves us with one last big question. We know what we can't control, but what about what we can? Is it possible that the deepest solutions to this crisis aren't just about new technology, but about rediscovering and recommitting to the values we all share?